Hello and welcome to another Music Matters with Ed. I almost forgot what I was going to say then. And I'm so pleased to have this morning in the studio with us someone who I always understand he's doing something altruistic when it comes to music and other people. So I'd like to welcome Craig Platt to our interview. Hi, Craig.
Hi, Everton. How are you?
Not too bad, thanks, Craig. It looks like you've been beamed down from heaven. You've got a glow.
Yeah, we'll keep that halo on for a little while.
Excellent. Okay, good. So, Craig, just tell us who you are. Craig Platt. Who's Craig Platt?
All right. Craig Platt. I've travelled around a lot. I'm a Yorkshireman, born in Doncaster, grew up part of my life in York, moved around a lot because my dad moved around a lot, trained as a doctor, have been a doctor for 35 years. And then in the last 5 years, trained as a teacher. And now I'm teaching and working in the health service. But
Excellent.
I love music.
Yes, I know. And we're going to find out a little bit more about that. So it's a long span, should I say, of time as a doctor and now as a teacher, passing on the knowledge and experience to up and coming ones. But how did your involvement with music become more pronounced through that time?
I've always loved music as a way of relaxation. And my initial involvement with music was as a choir boy. As a child, I remember very fondly the organist, very old, interesting fella, Mr. Flack, when I was living in Great Yarmouth, or near to Great Yarmouth. And he was a wonderful old guy who looked after the choir boys really well. And he took me to the theatre with my brother to see operetta, HMS Pinafore, Gilbert and Sullivan. And I loved that. So, yeah, singing as a choir boy, I sang in York Minster, I sang in Norwich Cathedral. I was almost sent to St. Paul's choir school, but I resisted that. I didn't want to get away to choir school. So I had I stopped to that point in terms of choir music. I enjoy choir music and anthems. And I used to love some of the old anthems, Bach and stuff like that. And I've come back to that a little bit recently. But in terms of playing music, then one of the early things that I did was learn to play the guitar. My brother used to have a guitar. He gave up on it. So I took his old guitar. And when I was 16 years old, I used to work the petrol pumps to earn a bit of extra money. And I saved up for my first guitar at the age of 16. First metal string guitar, Yamaha. Loved it.
Okay, so when I'm going to fast forward to the first time that I met you, and I believe I was running an open mic at a bar in Bristol called the Amoeba Bar. Was that correct?
You're right. It was the Amoeba Bar the first time.
That's where we met.
It was down in the cellar of the Amoeba Bar. Because I used to live near that part of Clifton. But then I followed to other open mic sessions, I think.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. But it was there that I first met you. And what I think it was something that struck me about you was your ability to take poems and put music to them, turn them into songs. That was just amazing. And
I loved looking at poems and putting them to music. And I think that came about because as a choir boy, I was used to singing psalms, and songs are a little bit like poems. And I think that's how I learned how to do that, really. But I can read a poem and put it to music. And so I started off by looking at the BBC book, The Nation's 100 Favourite Poems. And I started going through one by one, seeing if I could put a tune to them. Loved it.
Well, yeah, that's very, very, very clever. And also, then, as you said, we moved on to different open mics. And then through you, I've been introduced to a few other musicians from back then and even recently. But I want to just take a look at what happened last year for you in terms of your musical activity as well as in general. What happened last year, March? How did it affect you and your work and your musical output?
Funny enough, actually, I've been working harder in music this last 12 months than in the rest of my life. And that's because I'm a Leeds United fan. And that might not be popular in Bristol, but I'm a Leeds United fan.
Careful.
I know, I think you can say that. I mean, your ratings are going to plummet now.
No. We embrace all on this platform, so carry on.
Wonderful. But Leeds were 100 years old in 2019, October 2019. And I had been a fan for 50 years. And I thought, right, I'm going to do something musical with it. And I got this girl to sing a version of a song from My Fair Lady. I Could Have Danced All Night, but changed the words to Leeds United, and she did it so well. I thought, right, I'm gonna shoot a film. So I've been shooting a movie for the last 14 months, once every month, recording music and shooting film, recording music, shooting film. So I've got really busy.
That is amazing.
And it's been absolutely amazing. It has been amazing because I've met so many people on this shoot, and you met some of them when you came up to Leeds yourself. I shouldn't mention that, but you didn't actually come to Leeds. And
well, yeah. What is incredible is you're echoing, but in a way, what most musicians have experienced last year. In fact, whilst it has been a downtime in one aspect, it's also been an uptime in other aspects because it's caused us to concentrate on other elements of our creativity. And you, I mean, shooting a film and doing what you putting music to poem about one of your favorite topics, Leeds United. Awesome. So tell us more. How's it going then? How is that panning out?
It's been one of the most wonderful experiences of my life. I've met some fantastic people. I'll mention one person in particular, and that's Teresa Tazzoni. That's probably a name to look out for in the future. She goes under the stage name of Tree. And like myself, she's very poetic and she likes singing beautifully. But she's a rock star or an alternative rock star, and she's been putting some of the poetry ideas into alternative rock type style music. It's been fantastic. So there's one person I've met. I use the Eiger recording studios in Leeds and Venom Base in Stoke-on-Trent. I started doing a lot of work on Stoke-on-Trent before starting this movie, recording again poetry, mostly singing poetry.
Excellent. Okay, so let's just take a little bit of sideway look in terms of the near future. How do you see things panning out with what we've all experienced over the last 12, 14 months?
It's going to be a slow recovery. it's going to be a slow recovery. I can't see venues opening up in the next 3 or 4 months even, really. I think it's going to be after the summer before things start coming back. It depends on what happens with the variants that are coming through. You know, the South African variant, the Kent variant. So it's a tough time. It's a really tough time for musicians. And it's been great actually to work with some musicians shooting a film. And that has been an alternative avenue for at least the few musicians I've been working with to explore. But it's tough. It's really, really tough.
Yeah. And so what advice would you give to people who are thinking of entering into musical activity or for the first time or thinking about becoming musicians? What advice would you give them?
Follow your own love of music. Record music as much as you can. Document your development. I think that's really quite important. But follow your love of music and find people to play music with. It's still possible. I mean, it's still possible to go to recording studios because we have been doing that despite the pandemic, if it's done in a professional manner.
Excellent. So let's home in more now on your project. You mentioned about shooting the film, and when are you expecting to complete this project?
Okay, this film shoot probably will finish in April, and in terms of actually editing, that will probably take another 6 months. Ooh. That's what I'm thinking. But there have been a couple of aside projects that have occurred because of this whole project, one of which was the song that you heard us singing when you came up to Leeds, which was a tribute to Bootham Crescent. Bootham Crescent being the football ground of York City that is closing or has closed. And we had an opportunity to go and sing a song called Bootham Crescent from a poem written by a talk sport radio presenter, Adrian Durham. He wrote the poem, and I asked him whether we could put it to music. A girl called Sophie Bernice wrote some beautiful chords for it, and we sang it at Bootham Crescent just before the stadium closed down. And that is a standalone project, and that will be finished in 2 months.
So, just to clarify, have I spelled this right in the chat? Can you have a look? I've put Bootham Crescent. Is that correct?
That I can't see at the minute. Everton.
All right, I've spelled it Bootham and then Crescent.
Yeah. So we've recorded that. That's Bootham Crescent.
And where can that be heard, accessed?
At the moment, only on YouTube.
Okay.
But we hope to produce a very short run vinyl of that track. That's the plan.
Short run vinyl. I'm liking that. I'm liking the sound of that.
I like the idea of putting unusual songs onto vinyl. So
nostalgia.
Yeah, pretty much. It is nostalgia, but it's also perhaps a more tangible, something you can touch, something you can actually look at and feel. I love old vinyl. I mean, I don't have a record player now, but I used to love the vinyl. Do you still use a record player, Everton?
Oh, yes, I do. And Craig, I have been one of these particular music listeners. My record player is a standalone where you plug it into the amplifier, etc., etc. And I still have a lot of albums, a lot of 45s, extended play 45s, the original meaning of the EP. And I have some traditional 7-inches. And you are absolutely correct. I think most people have found this out one way or another. And that's the reason, I believe, why the vinyl has never gone away, and it's even coming back now in droves.
What was the first record you ever bought, Everton?
Right, that's going to be very, very, very challenging, Craig. I'm going to be upfront, and I'm going to say that I think the first single I purchased was a song, wait for it, by Benny Hill.
Really? That's fantastic. What, the Milkman song, was it?
I can't remember which one it was. I just know that you used to watch him, and I liked one of his songs, and I went and bought it as a single.
Fantastic.
What was the first one you bought, Craig?
We're going back to Leeds United. It was the FA Cup song of 1970.
Wow.
And they still the B-side is Marching On Together, which is a very famous Leeds chant, but that may be enough Leeds info for your Bristol audience.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so look, you've got
my first LP was Black Explosion.
Who's that by?
It was a variety of soul artists.
Okay.
So, because my mates were into Northern soul and soul music when I grew up as a teenager.
Excellent. Wow. Gosh. I was going to say, Craig, we're going to have another interview where we talk about vinyl. We talk solely about vinyl. This is awesome. All right. So I was going to say that you've got a lot going on then. You've got this interim project, reference Bootham Crescent, which you're hoping to complete a couple of months. And then you've got the longer project, reference Leeds United, which you're estimating is going to take till probably autumn to complete or beyond.
I think so. And I've also got a classical piece of music on another project that's happening, which is recording a violinist playing the chaconne. The chaconne is one of the most difficult solo violin pieces to be played. It's by Bach, J.S. Bach, Partita No. 2 in D minor. It's in 5 movements. The final movement is particularly difficult to play. And we've been filming this. It's a 12-month project, and we've been filming this starting from last July, every month.
My goodness me.
The learning of playing the chaconne. And that's been a wonderful experience too.
Okay.
And I'm excited for the final performance. But we don't want to do it in front of an audience or anything like that. We want to find maybe some mountaintop where that music is just produced for that person, that person. Do you know?
Great. I've got to ask you. No, carry on. I don't want to interrupt. Sorry, carry on.
Well, they're just wonderful journeys, aren't they? I mean, all of these journeys are absolutely wonderful. And you meet so many nice people in music, don't you?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
In Bristol, I tried to form a big band. I don't know if you knew that.
I did hear you did mention it when you did that charity concert.
Yeah, we tried to do. Yeah, that's right. We did actually. Yeah. Henry Jones. Oh, I should mention Henry Jones. Some of you listeners may know Henry Jones. He was a great drummer. He's a great drummer. And I've done a little bit of work with him since. I was last in a recording studio in Bristol only last year. So, yeah, Henry Jones is a great guy to work with.
So, Craig, I got to ask you, all of the projects you're involved in, and I know that they're going to be fantastic once you completed them, where do you find the time to teach?
Teach I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays. medicine I do on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Then when I'm
So there you have it, everyone. That's how you apportion your time to be able to get on with all this fantastic work.
Everything's in a little box. Hopefully not too much overlap.
Okay, right. One other thing then, Craig. Where anything that you are involved in that people can get access to now? I know we're waiting. We're excited and waiting for the completion of all the things that you've spoken about. But is there anything that you've done and completed that people can get here?
Tiny little bits. I've not most of it isn't out there. There's
Okay.
tiny little bits on YouTube. Tiny
Okay.
little bits on YouTube. I think actually you don't need to get it. Well, that's the other thing. You don't need to get it out there in a rush, do you?
No.
It's probably best not to.
Yeah.
Think about it and release stuff. I mean, I don't mind. I like music in the raw. I'm not looking for a final, carefully finished, varnished product. I just like capturing raw moments.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's not necessarily perfected. And that's the way I'm trying to film too. Just what is real life, real music sounding like. I don't need a finished product, but I do like to capture stuff as it's being produced.
Yes.
It's the ideas and the passion at that moment, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. That's very good. Thank you for pointing that out. Those who may tearing their hair out, as you say, a so-called perfected result. It's not about that. It's about the experience. And even though we are curtailed in the way that we can express those experiences amongst each other, still, as you're proving, it's still possible to make headway and push forward. So that is great news.
It is. What are you on? What are your latest projects? I mean, this is a project.
This is one. Thank you for asking, Craig. This is something that is a side issue because over my time in performance with music, as you mentioned, you are one of them. I've met so many incredible people, and we have become associates, colleagues, friends, because of the awesome gift of music. And this idea is just to give other people an insight into those people. I'm just inviting everyone that I know to come on and let's talk about, obviously we've got to focus in terms of 2020, but then how do we move forward as creatives? So that's what this is all about. It's just me having a reflective look, but also having a forecasting look as well with the people, the incredible people that I've met on my musical journey. So yes, this is one small pathway, but there's so much that I am involved in. And Craig, I will share with you probably next time I see you at the end of this month, and you will see things put up on this platform and other platforms of the stuff that I'm involved in. Because like you, Craig, music for me is, and I know it's going to sound cliche, everyone says music is life, but seriously, music for me is like life. It's like another form of life. And life evolves, we learn and we experience and we grow and move forward. And so it's the same with our musical activity. We learn, we experience, we grow and we move forward. And 2020 for me reminded me of how effective we can be with what we're doing. And let me just ask you before I forget, I just need to ask you because you've blown my mind with the things that you're doing. So I just got to ask this whilst I remember. Craig, if 2020 was a human being, what would you say to him or her?
Wow. If 2020 was a human being, what would I say?
Yeah.
Keep going and cheer up, probably.
Good. You're the only one that said for it. Did you mean for it to continue, or did you mean for it to be on its way?
It's part of life, isn't it? I mean, I'll tell you how I see my life, and maybe many lives, is I always think about a chocolate mousse with cream poured into it, and you stir it up, and it is what it is. You dissect out the bits after you've done stirring. I don't know if that helps, but
yes, it does. It's awesome. And Craig, I got to ask you now. I'll do it now because I wanted to do it before when I saw you last month. But like yourself, I'm also involved in audiovisual projects, and one of the things that I want to do is I want to capture a little bit of the essence and flavor of your work in the studio. So when I see you again, is it okay for me to bring my camera and do a kind of a vlog or whatever, just to capture? Because
absolutely.
Thank you. I really appreciated it last time.
I like capturing that live stuff, what's going on in the studio. I mean, it would have been lovely to have recorded that moment where you put the line into that pre-prepared piece.
Yeah.
Because what you're capturing is a moment of creativity, isn't it?
Absolutely. And Craig, I must say again, I got to say thank you, because as I listened to the song, the first two times I listened to it before I was involved in it, I was just listening to it and thinking, my goodness, what an awesome result for a poem to come out to be a song like that. And then when you asked or gave me the opportunity to be a part of it, I was thinking on my feet, but I was just so soaking up the essence of the song as I was trying to create this, I don't know, this kind of bass line to fit it. And I was just so grateful. So thank you. I'm really looking forward to the next time when we meet up and get creative again.
And I love that moment where I said to Tree, because I'm not terribly technical about music, but I just asked Tree whether she could put some highlights into that piece. She knew exactly what I meant. And she calls it sparkles. I call it highlights. She made the piece sparkle.
Yeah. Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, mentioning Tree, I should say right now that she will be featured in one of these interviews as well. I asked her and she's agreed, but I think she's changing dwelling place at the moment. So she said after that she'll come on board. But Craig, I am so grateful for you to agree to do this. And it's opened up so much because, as I've said, we need to do this again and again and again. You're involved in so much, and it just gives everyone an insight into what's possible musically.
There's a huge range of possibilities. And try and keep it reasonably tight so that you can actually get an end product is important.
Okay. All right. Well, apart from your YouTube channel, I mean, do you want to give us a YouTube channel? Has that got stuff that people could glean an interest into what you're doing, or snippets, as you said?
There are a few tiny little pieces on there, but most of it's behind the scenes at the minute. Okay.
All right. So what we'll do is I'll just say to people to keep a lookout on the platform for links and so on and so forth, which we will give to enable people to.
I can send you a link for the Bootham Crescent. I'll send you a link. You've got a link for the Bootham Crescent song, and that gives.
Did you send me? Did you send me that on Messenger?
Yeah, I can send you
Okay,
that as a link.
Okay, I'll transfer that to this interview once it goes live. So, okay, Craig, is there anything else that you want to leave us with? Because this has been awesome.
I wrote a few little things down. Go on, I'll give you just a short list of some favorite songs from the past.
Okay.
Is it right? Very short list. John Coltrane, Equinox.
Wow.
Bobby Timmons, Moaning. Horace Silver, Song from My Father. Lil Harding Armstrong, Oriental Swing. You know, these types of things, those are the things, I mean, what inspires you? First ever concert, Procol Harum in York Museum Gardens.
Okay, right, Craig, hold on. I'm going to write this down and give this so that people can go and listen to these tunes, all right? So you said John Coltrane.
Equinox.
What was it? Equinox?
Oh,
hey, hold on. Equinox. And what was the other ones?
Bobby Timmons, Moaning.
Bobby Timmons, is that Timmins?
O-N-S. Horace Silver, Song from My Father. You probably know that one.
Bobby Timmons. And what's the title?
Bobby Timmons was Moaning.
Moaning.
N-I-N.
Oh yeah. And then what's the next one?
Horace Silver, Song for My Father.
Horace Silver, Song for My Father. Okay.
Lil Harding Armstrong from the 1920s, really. Oriental Swing.
Is that Lil? Yep.
Harding. Yeah. Armstrong. Oriental Swing.
Oh yes, I did listen to that one. Oriental Swing. Okay. Any more?
Yeah, I mean, actually, only this week I was trying to look up some great bongos track and came across an album by I think Manu Chao, something like that. Absolutely awesome.
Okay. All right. Well, you've given at least 4 tracks that people can get an insight into your favorites in terms of music and creativity. So, all right. Well, Craig, what we're going to do, we're going to leave it there for now. But be sure, everyone, Craig Platt is someone who is serious about his activities in music, and when these projects are completed, it's just going to be everywhere, I think, because they're just unique as well. Who would think about doing a film about a football club and its closure? Or not film, sorry, music about its closure, and then a film about greater things musically. So, yeah, I can just see success with all of this. And it's grassroots at its best, as far as I can see.
Grassroots. Clandestino is the CD I've been listening to this week. Clandestino.
All right,
I mean, it's worth 2 hours of listening.
Okay. All right. So until next time, Craig, we will leave it there, and thank you again for appearing on Music Matters with Ev. And as I said, this is the first of many. Okay. So
it's nice.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Emerson.
Thank you, and take care until I see you again. Anyway, we'll meet soon. Anyway, it's a couple of weeks, but until next time on this platform, take care and thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye.